Welcome to the Eyes of Indigo with your infinitely curious hosts, Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. Our show is broadcast live at 9:30 p.m. Wednesdays. Socio-spiritual topics are laced with humor as we discuss weird stuff in a rational way. Learn more about us in our first episode, The Prequel. Shows are recorded and available on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, iTunes, and other aggregators. A keyword searchable index is at iriscarter.com/EOI directory. Share ideas and comments in the program chat or by email. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share our show. Let us know you're here by typing your hello in the comments because we are thrilled to welcome you as we begin another adventure right now.
Oh, and I lost Margot, but she's around here somewhere. Hello. I didn't realize you had
There
dropped
you
off. Hey.
No worries. I came back on the same time the intro ended. Hi.
Well, glad you
My-
made it.
Thank you. My feed froze up completely and it would not unfreeze. So I jumped out and jumped back. Thank you. You know what? We talked before the show. Hi, Jeannie. Hi, Dale. Namaste and aloha.
Yes.
So we didn't talk about this. What the weather here at the beach is being very unusual. What kind of weather are y'all having?
It was
in the
60
triad?
degrees today, and it's supposed to be like 70 degrees tomorrow and Friday or something like that. We have gone from being in the teens last week and it
This
started
weekend?
raining tonight. Yeah, even this week. Yeah, it was like the 30-degree high over the weekend. And it's been, very cold first couple days of the week. And then all of a sudden today, it's balmy and sunny out. I mean, not sunny, but cloudy. And yeah.
It was
and
balmy and cloudy here too. That is a great way to describe it. We had a high of 70 degrees today. That's typical. We're about 10 degrees off from you guys. So we're at the for those of you that don't know, I live on the coast of North Carolina and Iris lives in central North Carolina, the Piedmont. So
And you froze.
yeah, so 10 degrees difference.
She's freezing and it's not even cold outside now. I don't know if she's freezing for everybody or if it's just me, but we're having technical difficulties at times too. Yeah, lost her. Sorry, folks. Yeah, and there's been all kinds of weird tech stuff going on just in general. I'm trying to find her. I know she came back. There she is. Yep.
We are.
Yes. I said you froze up even though it's not cold.
It's funny because I can still hear you and see you. Yeah, so I can still hear you. So that's cool. Yes, exactly. I froze and it wasn't freezing. But yeah, same here. And it started raining tonight.
Oh my
Hi, Linda.
goodness. Linda says hello, and she's sitting there with no power, so she'll listen till her device dies. Well, we're glad you can join us, and you're spending your moments with us. That's an honor.
Thank you for spending the last of your battery power with us. That's a compliment. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spirit God source bless you.
What was that? Do you remember that show or the movie Batteries Not Included with the little alien spaceships and stuff? And it's like Linda's when you spend the last till her batteries die.
She's gonna kick and twitch.
Yeah.
She'll slowly fade off of the screen. Linda, we appreciate you. Thank you. I see you laughing. Yeah, she wrote LOL. So yeah, thank you for checking in with me. You know what? There's two things I want to jump into real quick, or sidebar to real quick, that are kind of important. before we start the topic of the show, but it's kind of related. The first one was and I forgot to mention this. Usually we do a peek through the curtain back in the day, and it was talking about noticing weird stuff or unusual and stuff or indicative stuff.
Yeah.
About what else is going on. You and I actually talked about a peek. Could you please summarize the Epstein series on Netflix? That is a certain peek behind curtains.
Yeah. And honestly, I apologize. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a 4-part series on Netflix. And I think each section's like about an hour, hour and a half. And it really does a deep dive on what happened, starting back when he was in Florida. A lot of it focuses on his time in Florida, where he was in
Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich.
West Palm Beach. I know it's West Palm Beach is the elite, I believe. And
I think
Palm,
so. It's called Filthy Rich.
Yeah, and
The series is called
yes,
Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich is the name of the
Filthy
series.
Rich.
Yeah.
And it goes and it kind of segments everything from his background, how he got into how he became a billionaire, but it doesn't go way back in his history, but it talks about and people he knew and that sort of thing, and how he was kind of he did a very good job of networking and
Rubbing
how
elbows
he
with the
solicited
right people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people
having sex
and
with
they
them.
interviewed a lot of people, girls that he influenced, how they got a lot of the girls from Palm Beach, because like it's like literally you've got kind of this middle to lower middle class homes right up to the bridge that goes over into West Palm Beach. And it's like they would just kind of
you mean
go
the
over.
servants' quarters for the West Palm?
Yeah, right. And they interview all these girls and how they ended up getting sucked in, and what he would ask them
recruited.
to do, and how he would pawn them off on other people, all this stuff. And then how the local law enforcement got involved, the State Bureau of Investigation. They had this entire case built against him, had him arrested, and when he showed up in court, there was a discussion. He was in a suit discussion with the judge. They signed a document, and I think he was sentenced to like a year at home. And the DA is like, wait a minute, we didn't agree to this. What the hell? And they're like, well, we made an agreement with the judge, and and how underhanded all this stuff was done. And it gets really into the details.
The probate officers, they knew that he was leaving his house. They knew he was going to his house in Hawaii, and so on. And when somebody said, wait a minute, he's house arrest, to his island, and they would say, wait a minute, that's not house arrest. And the probate officers would go, meh, we got it.
Yeah.
And they looked the other way.
And then how it went all the way up to like Alan Dershowitz, who was in the White House, like he was the federal prosecutor or whatever, attorney general, something. I can't remember what he did, and how he denied any wrongdoing, but he was seen on Epstein's Island. They interviewed people that worked on Epstein Island. They interviewed people that had been there. Clinton said he never went, and there were at least 2 people that said they saw and talked to Bill Clinton while he was on Epstein Island. And it was interesting because there was a couple of things that like we've discussed on our show. Like one was, we had a question one time about how can people be in these situations, working in these situations, and not know what's going on
or talk.
Yeah. And the one guy they interviewed, who was a maintenance guy who knew every square inch of that island, he admitted, he said, one was the money, And two was just sort of a disbelief. He said, like, he went on the beach and there was this naked man with older man with like three young girls who were topless. And he said they weren't doing anything together other than the nudity or
Yeah.
partial nudity. He said it didn't look right, but it wasn't quite wrong either. And he said, and I just kind of would shrug it off. And he said, you don't really want to cognitively believe that anything wrong is
Something was
going
wrong.
on. Yeah. And he said,
Because then you become responsible for it. And that's Ho'oponopono. And humans resist doing that. Yeah. They look the other way. Yeah.
But he's like, now,
Yeah.
and then he started seeing more, and he said eventually he quit. He had to quit. But, and he talked about, going to the house to do something, and there's Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein sitting on the porch talking, and he's like, oh, like, whoa. And, there was no reason. And they get into his relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell. And again, how girls ended up on the island, the different people, and then what happened to these women. They ended up suing the government for the involvement in not prosecuting him when he was caught in Florida. And then when they arrested him, it goes through the arrest in New York and his death there. So no sugarcoating. They're in there digging for the facts. So it was very cool.
Interesting. And they think that he actually died in New York.
Well,
that's where, yeah. And Jeffrey Epstein is not dead. That was a running theme on Facebook and Instagram and X over and over and over. Da 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 da. Yeah, harvest time is in September, and Jeffrey Epstein is not dead. That was a running joke. Yeah.
Yeah. They talked about the conspiracies and stuff like that. And honest to God, I'd have to go back and watch the very end again to see again what they exactly said. But they talked about
the
all
whole
the different
series is out. You said it was 4 parts, and so it's already happened. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's already, you can see the whole thing. Thank you.
The whole thing. Yeah.
Thank you. The other thing I wanted to mention that, and you might be able to wait till the end of the show, was a little bit of a promo for Heal the Healer. And I should have asked you to cue it up, and it didn't occur to me till after the show had started. You created a wonderful promo video that's about 2 minutes long. Maybe we can run it at the end of the show. While I'm talking, you can go grab it.
Yeah, I can grab it real quick right now because I've got it in the it won't take me but a second.
Well, while you're doing that, it's basically a promo that Iris built based on our fabulous interview with Dale Stacy last week, who is also a featured speaker at the Heal the Healer event March 21 through 24 with yours truly and Iris Carter. And this is an Iris Carter Enterprises event, and it is in Emerald Isle, North Carolina. And the public is welcome. Go check it out at iriscarter.com, and you'll see Heal the Healer Summit Weekend. Click that, and it'll show you everything. This is a really wonderful synopsis, and you really get a good vibe of what it's like to listen to, study with, interact with Dale Stacy. And Iris is going to cue that up.
Yeah, I was trying to, the page wasn't loading, and I'm like, yeah.
Nowadays with the way technology is kerfuffling left and right.
All right, so hopefully, let me know if you don't hear the sound, but I think it'll work.
There's no sound.
None at all?
No sound at all.
Because we're going
to... All right, of course. We'll do it this way. Wait a minute. Where am I going? I got to get rid of this. Me. There's just too much going on. We've switched sides, Margot. I'm gonna hide you,
Yeah.
and then we'll be back. Oh, gotta love technology. Okay, here we go. And that one I'm gonna get rid of, and I am going to share my screen instead. Come on. Also share the audio, and here's that. Share that. And we'll go back over here. Don't y'all just love all this stuff? It's like,
You have to use your alien technology.
Okay, let's try this again.
Scooby-Doo's. Linda says she could hear it.
Oh, okay.
Because we're going to be in this beautiful place with beautiful people and a beautiful setting. My goodness, we have the ocean, grandmother ocean. We have all that beautiful sand. I mean, we're going to be walking on silicon dioxide, crystal quartz. We're just going to be walking on that. My goodness. We know that 5D is about wisdom and light. So that's certainly where we want to be. If we're in 3D now, being in self-awareness, 4D is love, and then 5D goes to wisdom and light, we certainly want to make sure we elevate our consciousness, our awareness, as we view the entire weekend through it, 3D, 4D, 5D, and beyond. Right? And this being an 8-year, 2024, 2 plus 2 plus 4 equals 8. So 8 is the number of harmony.
Infinity.
It really is the infinity symbol. So, and since we're going to be at the beach, it would be wonderful. It's okay with you that we do Hawaiian Qigong. It's called Kalana Hula.
Pretty.
Yeah, that'd be great. And so it's like 6 movements with the Qigong movements that we can do, and they're all very water oriented, island oriented, and it's perfect for Emerald Isle where we are. So just imagine if you have this aloha bubble around you, filled with all the colors of the rainbow. Imagine that standing on the sand, inhaling in through your feet to bring that energy up from Mother Earth, and letting that little rainbow light come out of your palm, going right into another person or 2 or 3 people in a group, standing inside a sacred geometry circle. My goodness, give me a cigarette. That's gonna be
Yes, I had fun with that.
That was good. That was really good. Thank you for creating that. Yeah. It's a good way to get a vibe.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping
It's a good way
for.
to get a vibe.
Dale has such good energy. I wanted to bring that through. So, yeah.
Showcase it. Sure.
Yeah,
So
definitely got that.
Tonight's show. Yes, we do. And sorry, shifting gears. So on to tonight's show is Exopolitics 101 Basics. Iris, where are we going?
The description I found, the art or science of government as concerned with creating or influencing policy toward extraterrestrial phenomena and extraterrestrial beings. And it's like, yep, that's what we're talking about. I couldn't say any more other than what was already in that description, because it was like, if I do, I'll cover the whole page with words. So yeah, we want to talk about that, and there are some good resources we're going to share and all that good stuff. But I guess Dale liked the video. Thank you, appreciate that. And so with exopolitics, I guess to give a little bit of background on it, it's about it's sort of a scientific discipline that focuses on those political aspects of the interactions with extraterrestrial life. And and there are still people I do not understand. There are still people that will say, there's no such thing as aliens. We're the only ones out here. And I'm like,
They don't know anything about science.
has admitted, what
They don't listen to mainstream or alternative or their education or anything else.
Yeah.
Remember what's it called, that mind wipe stuff that gives you hard blinders? What is that called? MK Ultra.
Cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive dissonance, MK Ultra, and I'm sure there's even more terminology for keeping people's brains only where they want you to. But yeah,
I remember.
Yeah, there are people that it's
growing up, I used to kind of be
impossible
back
for
and
there
forth.
not to be.
Yeah, growing up, I was kind of back and forth between, well, maybe there is, well, maybe there's not, trying to be sensible, but and then I was probably in my teens. This would have been back in the mid 70s, early 80s. I heard somebody make the comment, and it might have been a comedian that said, and I've heard it since then too, but how arrogant and self-centered can we be to think that with all the billions of stars out there that we're the only living beings?
Billions of stars with trillions and trillions of planets around them and trillions more moons around them, because moons also support life, not just planets.
It was like, I was like, okay, I'm sold.
It's mathematically impossible for us to be the only ones. It's just mathematically impossible. Yeah.
Exactly. But the Michael Salla was the founder of the Exopolitics Institute. And Alfred Weber first used the word exopolitics and describes it as the study of the political process and governance in interstellar society. And
what was the phrase you came up with that was a little bit more concise? We said it during the written. I said, "Oh, that's it in a nutshell." You said it. You said it in like 3 words. We'll have to circle back around to it.
Yeah, I mean, if it was said,
it was like exo ambassador or something like that. Exo diplomacy.
Yeah, it might. We'll probably come across it again. But in October of 2009, I thought it was really interesting. They got a number of people that are involved in exopolitics. They organized some brainstorming sessions and decided to talk about the different meanings and uses of the word exopolitics, and they explored and mapped it out. And the people that were involved in the brainstorming session, I want to throw this up. Come on, there we go. The people that were involved in the brainstorming session included Come Carpentier. I don't know. I'm not saying it right, I'm sure. But from India, somebody from Hong Kong, somebody from Italy and the U.S., somebody from Germany, South Africa, Spain, Australia, and Canada. So very well representative globally. And it became clear that exopolitics was being used in 3 distinct meanings. One is a scientific discipline. The other was a worldwide movement, and third as a new paradigm. But they're all in common with dealing with the implications of extraterrestrial life. So in a nutshell, the version is that exopolitics deals with the implications of terrestrial life. And this chart, we've got the education, the research, and the governance. But exopolitics, if you look at the scientific discipline, it involves that education, research, and governance. But then the movement is the activism, and then the paradigm is inspired by facilitating the movement and having the exo consciousness and the civilization, new technologies, which I thought was big because that's a big thing. I mean, when people talk about new
society.
Yeah, I love that line in Men in Black where Will Smith asks, how do y'all fund all this? Oh, we just traded a few technologies, Velcro, microwave,
which are actually true.
Which
Those
are
two
actually
items
true.
those two items are actually reverse engineered and traded from ET populations. Yeah.
So that all, it just comes together. We're shown so much. The formal definition is of it being an interdisciplinary scientific field with roots in the political sciences, focuses on research, education, and public policy with regard to the actors, institutions, and processes associated with extraterrestrial life, as well as the wide range of implications this entails through public advocacy and newly emerging paradigms. Whoa.
Newly emerging paradigms is where this affects people on a personal level, by the way. Yeah.
Yes.
As well as the technology and education. But we'll cover that more as we go.
Right. And the most prolific authors in the field are Michael Salla, Salla, and he's written a couple of books on it.
PhD. Yeah.
Paola Harris, Paola Harris, and she's written 3 books on it. And Ed Komarek, and he frequently publishes on his blog. There's a number of websites, and what I want to do is I'm going to copy and paste in our little show here, put up a banner with this one. I stumbled upon, y'all, this Exopedia.org. Yes. And it is like Wikipedia for all things alien. It is fascinating. I am like hooked on Exopedia. So check this out. I'm gonna put this crawler up here that'll have information.
Have a little bit of information about it. From what I understand, from what you told me, Exopedia and a sister site to it, Alien Jigsaw, are basically a who's who of what types and features of aliens, off-planet beings, what they do, what they look like, and so on.
And what's fascinating is they take all, like you can look up extraterrestrial civilizations and stuff like that, and they take folklore and myths and legends,
Italian mythology.
And both the Greek and the the Egyptian gods, the Greek gods, the Roman gods, they tie it all in with references to potential links to aliens and that sort of thing as well. And where
a lot of blue-skinned humans in that history. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are ETs.
Really cool. So that's that. There's also Michael Salla has the Exopolitics Institute is a 501c3 nonprofit educational organization. And they mainly study those actors, institutions, political processes, all of that stuff. But they want to promote awareness and understanding of all evidence concerning different extraterrestrial races, their impact on social, economic, cultural, and political processes, prepare humanity for open interaction with extraterrestrials whose existence is supported by credible evidence, assist in public dissemination of technologies that evidence suggests is extraterrestrial in origin, and promote
Brush.
and promote
throw it out there.
Full public disclosure through accelerated release of all evidence concerning an extraterrestrial presence in terms of history, agreements, technologies, and activities. So it's they've got a board of directors, advisory board, faculty of lecturers, networking, volunteers. And they, then
check it out when you go to Hawaii, guys.
There's in Hawaii, there's a place called the Hawaii Star Visitor Sanctuary. And it was officially opened in 2014 by a May 28th declaration that outlines the 4 principles behind its creation. And there's, and they've got updates and information about it. And they've got a visitor center and all this other stuff, and it's part of the Exopolitics Institute. There's also interesting a term called galactic diplomacy or exodiplomacy.
That's it. That's the phrase we were looking for. Galactic diplomacy and galactic. Ecto?
Yeah, EXO, like exopolitics, but it's
exodiplomacy. Not ecto, but exo, yeah.
And it's the profession, activity, or skill of managing relations with extraterrestrials, and deals mainly with questions like, how do we prepare for contact? Once contact is made, what do we do next? Between contactees and abduction and all that stuff, they want to make a distinction between official contact with government organizations and contact with individuals. So there's a 2-track diplomacy. One's organized by governments, and the other the citizen diplomacy is anything that happens on a non-official level.
Can I jump in here about Stephen Greer? Yes. That's his specialty, what you're talking about right there. Stephen Greer and Elena Danaan is another one, but I'll talk about her in a few minutes. Stephen Greer actually, that's his specialty, about creating contact, social and meaningful physical and energetic contact between extraterrestrials and terrestrials, which are humans on Earth. And just a sidebar, that one. And apparently it's not easy, but there is a process that he and many of his constituents, he is a scientist, he's a medical doctor, and he's if you don't know about Stephen Greer, he's also a high-level meditation master and yada, 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 all these kinds of really cool alternative metaphysical credentials, as well as mainstream scientist credentials. He developed a system for how to call in and communicate with extraterrestrials, and he created an app on your cell phone called CE5. Letter C, letter E, 5. And is there a fee? I think there's a little fee with it. There used to be free in the beginning. But anyway, it'll actually talk you through how to privately connect with non-Earth beings. And
one
there's prep to
never do it by yourself. Never do it by yourself. Prep.
They tell you over and over, do not try this by yourself. It is stressful, just to put it mildly. And it won't work. They are sensitive to humans being under duress and stress and negativity, and they won't cooperate. So nothing happens. If you want to actually do it with a group.
It's kind of like, to me, it can be like using a Ouija board and dialing a random phone number and seeing
you need to know what you're doing.
Because you don't want just any old aliens coming in. Because they're like people. Some are good, some are not.
And this is a part of the Exopolitics 101 that we needed to touch on. There are plenty of extraterrestrials, let's call them galactics, all right? That's instead of saying ET over and over and over. Because ET brings up, to me, when I say ET, that brings up Steven Spielberg's little foam rubber guy with big eyes and a glowing finger that said phone home over and over. All right, so the galactics. Some galactics are benevolent, and they're our friends, and they've been trying to help us for decades, nay, maybe even centuries or more. And then there's malevolent ones that they're interested in keeping humans enslaved because we're so powerful and chock full of both skills and delicious minerals. Okay, we have both.
We're crunchy and taste good with ketchup.
And And we can dance if it has a good beat to it as well. We're very entertaining on lots of levels for them. So just to be irreverent about it. So yeah, you, like she said, Ouija board or making crank phone calls, you need to be discerning about who you're reaching out to and set it up so that it's high vibration from heart and you're attracting that kind of energy and those kinds of beings, because low vibration beings can't exist in high vibrations. It'll only attract high vibrating beings. And being afraid and stressed out is low vibration. So you have to have practice, you have to do it with a group, you have to be calm. But the CE5 app is one way that amateurs can try it for themselves. It's been on the market for at least 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that information's been out there. I wanted to touch on Elena Danaan. Even Michael Solid deferred. He's written about other aliens and what they look like and their diplomacy and so on. And he cited his book. He said, but if you want an extensive book about what aliens look like, what they do, what their motivation is, what they eat, how they breed, how they travel, what they think about humans, what is their sense of humor or not, what is their sense of science or not, how long they've been around. Elena Danaan has written a book that outlines over 100 different pictures, and she's an artist. She drew pictures of each one of them. And she is a controversial French archaeologist who became a high priestess in the Celtic Druid tradition, along with a lot of other Egyptology type stuff that she's also done. She's also at the center of a lot of controversy for the information she brings up. She's written a lot of other books as well. That's just one of them. So I wanted to throw those in there besides the interesting people that you mentioned so far, so that you guys, our listeners, have material that you can check things out a little further.
Do you know which
hi,
name,
Heidi.
which book was the one about
I just remembered it while we were.
A Gift from the Stars, Alien Races?
A Gift from the Stars. That's it. A Gift from the Stars. Danaan, Danaan. Or is it Dann? Aann. It's the Celtic word Danaan. Heidi says, what is her name again? Can you throw
I'm pulling it up. I'm trying to.
Iris is building a running streamer so that you'll see it go across the screen in just a minute. If you're interested in the communication app for you and your group, Stephen Greer, Greer, Stephen Greer. The app is called C5. No, CE5.
They don't know sign language, sweetheart.
No, they don't. But they can see it. They can see the C. Here we go. And the little letter E. A Gift from the Star, Alien Races. Yep, Elena Danaan. Yeah, I said it right. Danaan. Yeah. Cool. I can't believe I remember that one. Extraterrestrial Contacts and Guide. And she actually does a YouTube. When the book came out, she actually picked out 10 of her favorite ones and flipped through the book and talked about each one and held open the page. But guess, and I think I shared this link with you. She specialized, that particular podcast was about the sex life of her top 10 favorite aliens and how they procreate. And some of them don't. Some of them don't. Some of them do, like humans. Some of them do something else that's kind of unusual and strange, that's similar. And then some of them have some rather violent procreations. And she apparently, in my opinion, I don't know, but she seemed a little bit tipsy while she was doing the show. And she was playing stripper music. When she was flipping from section to section, segueing, she was playing a little bit of stripper music and giggling at herself. She was making fun of herself. It's a rather amusing 30-60 minutes if you want to check that one out. She was she speaks English, but she's French in origin. Yeah. So thank you for entertaining me on the sidebar, Iris. You were saying.
Yeah, and I wanted to show this.
I'm throwing the ball back to you. Oh, you want to talk about Greer a little bit? Yeah.
I was just going to say, yeah, and he's got Disclosure and I think that's available on Netflix or one of the streaming channels. He has Disclosure series available, a couple of films that are very interesting if you want to get information about his process and what he's been through. And there's lots of YouTube stuff out there about him. So I just want to throw that up so people know who they're looking for.
He's been on the speaker circuit for years and years. He's constantly hounding Congress, U.S. Congress, to reveal and puts pressure on them to do so. He does not agree with all galactic speakers. He has some slightly, not extremely, but slightly different opinions about what is and what isn't. And he's a North Carolina boy who grew up in Charlotte. So,
yes.
Yeah. And his first ET contact was out on the Blue Ridge at night. So, Blue Ridge Parkway. So, local boy makes big.
Yeah. And so let's see what else. Oh, yeah. So I think it's interesting when they talk about with exopolitics that a lot of it is looking into the plans, the government's reaction plans, the characters, actors involved in the process and all that. And how much has happened to hide that stuff,
Is that why they call them actors, or is there another intention behind using that word?
Actors, they use the term as in the players involved. It's like, who are the people?
Another word for players.
Yeah, it's because the galactic diplomacy is the profession, activity, or skill of managing those relations. And they, who the people who are doing it. So the actors in the situation, not meaning like pretend actors, but the participants.
Thank you. That's a good clarity, because the word actors is also used in conspiracy research to mean people who are fake. They're usually wearing a mask or a body double, pretending to be something they're not in order to deceive the public. Yeah. Biden. Sorry.
Helium.
Hillary. Elon Musk. A lot of actors out there. Hollywood goes way beyond California. Let's just say that. Yeah. Way below ground, above ground, and across the country. Way, 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 way beyond. But anyway, someday that cryptic comment will make more sense. So another clarifying question I wanted to ask you, Iris, which is a common question that I like that in our research it came up. Using your own words, what is the difference between exopolitics and ufology? And if you could define ufology first, that would probably be helpful.
Ufology, I don't have the official description in front of me, but ufology is more the study of, and maybe I should look it up just to see what the officials say.
Hang on, let me see what I got. Seeks to conduct rigorous scientific analysis to confirm facts.
Yeah, and it's
scientific analysis. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are people who study it, who study the investigation of unidentified flying objects or unidentified aerial phenomena. UAP is the new term. So they're collecting and analyzing the reports, the evidence, and that sort of stuff. And I love this because this is from Exopedia, and they say, note that Wikipedia is rather biased and is one sweeping generalization considers the entire field of ufology pseudoscience. Whereas, you've got people that are actually looking at UAPs, the unidentified aerial phenomenon, and, where does it come from? Who is it? What is it? All that stuff. Whereas exopolitics is actually, once you're engaged with and communicating with,
Next level.
yeah, it's sort of like Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind,
Which is where the 5 comes from. That's talking about, contact. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. The app helps you get to 5 for Stephen Greer. So Heidi, her last comment, I think you ought to throw that on the bottom of the screen for us, because Heidi, we hope so, because Heidi says you two are going to go to Facebook jail with all the name throwing. Ha ha. Guys, if we get banned or dropped or put in temporary jail or permanent jail by fake book or snooze tube, it should tell you a few things. We said something they didn't want you to hear. They're afraid of something that they don't want you to hear. You need to hear it. Yeah. Another way they say that is we're flying right over the target if they try to shut us down. Until we're a threat, they're not going to try to shut us down. If they shut us down, we said something important. Go back. Check it out for yourself. So, yeah, we hope we do tick people off. However, we do want to stay in contact with our audience at the same time. That's why we have 2 platforms. And if we had to, maybe we would go to a third one if we had to. It looks like a lot of other people do. Yeah. Rumble.com is a big one. And there's several more that are out there. Telegram has one, I think. But anyway. So Heidi gave us a big blue heart. That's very sweet. Thank you. Namaste. Namaste. So yeah, the difference between those two is a common question. Yeah, what's the difference? Because we hear about UFOs and ufology and SETI, SETI, which is a Stephen Greer thing. And that's good clarification.
Yeah, but I think for so long,
we're
nobody
sitting at
really
10:20. We're about 50
nobody
minutes
thought
into the
about
show.
having actually contact with aliens. It was more of, we see the spaceships in the sky, and what are they here for, and all that speculation.
Stay up there.
And that's where the ufology came from. But now we're realizing, no, there has been
beings. There has been
to be interaction, and there's a diplomacy
for millions of years. Yeah,
and
now that humans are smart enough,
remake that Goldie Hawn film called Protocol, where she was a ambassador in the White House and didn't know jack about what she was doing, but except do it with aliens. That's what we.
That's a good analogy. Excellent. Good job, hon. Ring a bell for that one if our sounds would let us. So that's a good analogy. And again, movies, they tell us everything ahead of time. That's an excellent explanation of it. So applying this to our audience and how this affects, well, there's some obvious effects, obviously, how this affects your day-to-day life now and how this is going to affect your future and your family's future and your children, your grandchildren, the next generation of teachers, medical healers, politicians, construction workers, and financial institutions and medical and all that stuff into the future, transportation, all of that. And how exopolitics, it's a good idea to understand how exopolitics is developing both locally, not both, trilogy, locally, nationally, and globally. We need to know, and eventually globally is going to be the only thing that matters, by the way, because apparently factions of beings are basically defined by either their planet or their star system. And right now we're defined by our planet. And what they have, I'm nutshelling a lot. We actually could do 5 or 6 shows on what is exopolitics and the finer points of it. But in a nutshell, communication. As exopolitics affects day-to-day life, technology, food, earth politics, laws, values, food and safety, and on and on and on, transportation, on and on and on. As that affects us and we interact with them, how are we going to interact with them if mostly just some humans speak English, the rest of the humans don't, and maybe other beings usually don't speak English off planet, or Chinese, or Russian, or Hindi, or ba, or whatever, Spanish, Portuguese, all of it. What they report over and over is, generally speaking, ambassadors from other species. Instead, they understand your thoughts and your feelings, what emotions you're experiencing, more in terms of what feelings you're having. And some of them
and
can.
heart light.
Yes. Remember, his heart glowed and he had a telepathic interlock, not just connection, but an interface, an interlock with the boy. And E.T. eventually had to break it because his dying was killing the kid. So he had to pull apart so that he could heal himself and be okay again without killing the boy. A lot of nuances there that Steven Spielberg is way more informed than you think. And another double actor. And so ETs or galactics generally communicate by listening to our thoughts and feelings. So if you want to express an idea or share an idea or greet an off-planet being that doesn't speak English, ideally, if you're not freaked out, ideally you show them in your mind's eye happy. You show them what it looks like in your mind when you feel happy. For me, speaking for myself, bright white light and pale blue starbursts or rays pop up from bottom to top and fan out. There's iridescent sparkles in there. I start seeing a pink and gold peach glow that seems to be coming out of my heart chakra, and it invades my third eye view from the bottom in a bubble. It doesn't fill up the whole screen, but it fills it up from here, and it's very obvious that it's coming from my heart chakra. It's also very 3D, and it reaches forward and out to whoever's in front of me. When I'm in a good mood, when I'm in a happy mood, when I'm in a calm, evolved meditation.
Did you freeze?
Did I freeze again?
Yeah, you did for a second.
Yep, I did.
There
There it is. Can't. Yeah. Thank you. But yeah, you project all that good stuff towards them, and that they understand without explanation. Oh, you're happy to see me. You're okay with me being here. You're interested in me reacting to you. All right. You're interested in interacting with me. And it's not that primitive. They're a little more sophisticated. So they start showing you feelings and thoughts and get a feel for how good are you at this. Just
well,
like
think
when
about
you're
how
learning a language with somebody. Yeah.
even on Earth, people talk about like going to France and how France thinks Americans are arrogant. And you don't have to
And
speak the
vice
same
versa.
language to know that they're that they don't want you around, or that you're, like that they're snubbing you, or you walk into an office and somebody doesn't give a crap about waiting on you, and they just kind of, they have that energy.
Blow you off. Yeah.
When you can detect that kind of energy from people, don't you think it makes sense that it's a universal language?
Absolutely. If humans do that to each other, it makes perfect sense that we can do this to other beings, which brings us to the observation of, really? Are they human like us? Which is the next question we almost always get. Some are, and some are not. There are Earth human Terrans living on other planets that look and sound and eat and live just like us. All right. There are also humanoids that look like us, except they have 4 fingers instead of 5. They have blue skin or green skin or pink skin instead of shades of brown like we do. There are feline, cat-like humans, dog-like humans, insect-like humans, bird-like humans, ladybug-like humans, grasshopper-like humans, fish people, also known as a mermaid. Fish people, a lot of them stayed on Earth. Okay, there's ones that are furrier than us, that are ape-like, also known as a Sasquatch. All right, we're not even alone on this planet, guys. So anyway, and yes, you can talk to mermaids and Sasquatches using that telepathic overview that we just outlined, because that's how they communicate. So when they communicate with us, when we communicate with them, generally speaking, it's called a star body. And sometimes people think, oh, you mean that they're from stardust, like everything is made of stardust ultimately in the whole universe. No, what they're saying is that if their body has a 5 protrusion shape, a head, 2 arms, 2 legs.
Like a starfish.
Yes, like a starfish, like the Vitruvian Man in Leonardo da Vinci's artwork. So they have a head unit, at least 2 arms. Some of them have more, but at least 2 arms that function as arms, and at least 2 legs that function as locomotion on the bottom. And there's variations to that too, what their feet, fingers are or are not. All that changes. The reason I'm talking about how they look like is because honestly, every time I talk about what aliens are, where are they? Yes, they're already here on Earth. They have been for thousands of years. Are they here right now? What do they look like? People really, really focus on what do they look like? What do they look like? I think it's because people are afraid of being afraid. They're afraid of something showing up with gigantic eyes and gray-green skin and bald and tiny body, commonly known as a small gray. In Hollywood, they're known as Martians. Okay, they're afraid of suddenly having one of those appear in front of them, when actually that's not how they do it. But that's a whole nother discussion. People are very concerned about what they look like. You got to get past that, guys, because honestly, they don't give a crap what we look like. They want to know how genuinely we honestly will communicate, and whether or not they're scaring us. The good guys don't want to scare us, so they're trying to get away from that. The bad guys, they do want to scare us, so they're trying to get into that. So, yeah, they want to know if you're being honest, and they want to know if you're scared for 2 different reasons. And they don't give a crap what you look like. But some of them can be intimidating, even though they're very sweet, like benevolent people. Yeah.
When Tony
Rodriguez
was on our show, he talked about the different ones that he met, and he said, there's also different levels of, like we think as people, as carnivores, we look at, cows and fish and
as food.
And he said that there are aliens out there that they kind of look at us like cattle, whether or not they're eating us is another whole nother thing. But just the fact that we're considered not as intelligent and a lesser being, it would be like us being dogs and cats, on that level. What dogs and cats are to us, we could be to them, because
it's a holographic universe and everything repeats itself.
Yeah.
And you're describing another beautiful example of a pattern repeating itself. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, so we have to realize we're not, the smartest or swiftest or most advanced or any of that stuff.
But we are on our way.
We're on our way.
We're finally on our way. Yeah.
But one of our traits is the fact that we're creative. And that's
extremely,
so big
yeah.
compared to other beings. They don't have the creativity that we have. But yet, I think we also, one thing that is done that I think people need to realize is there's a lot of crap out there on the internet that shows how mean people can be to each other. And on one hand, I think, well, gosh, if we treat each other that way, how are we going to interact with people from other planets? But a lot of that stuff is fodder to keep us divided and to keep us in turmoil and in chaos so that we can't organize, so that we can't learn benevolence with each other and that sort of thing. So, get rid of the bullshit. Don't let what you see go, oh my God, people are just so mean to each other and I just want to hide. That's not true. Not for the most part. Yes, are there mean people out there? Yes. There's people out there that, well, whether or not they're mean, they're confused and sad and angry and frustrated and not in control of their emotions and themselves. So their behavior
again.
So their behaviors might not be what we would consider a benefit to society, but that's them, and you don't have to buy into that. You don't have to give it a place in your life. You can just kind of send them love and let them go on their journey, but pay attention to the fact that there's a lot more good than there is bad out there.
A trick I learned to manage that when I accidentally see something violent like that, or sadness inducing or anger inducing, keep in mind that sometimes that stuff is fake. Sometimes it's acted or it's photoshopped to upset you. And first thing that comes in my head is when I start feeling that or seeing that, I go, you know what? Nobody has permission to manipulate my emotions under any conditions, regardless of my value system or their value system, either one. Nobody ever has permission to manipulate my thoughts or feelings. So right off the bat, that's their reality, not mine. Change the channel. Swipe left, swipe right, whatever. Swipe up. Get out. Shut it down. And choose not to react to, if you're feeling triggered, choose to recognize it and cope with it and say, you know what, I'll either go with this trigger and learn something from it, or I will shut trigger.
Yeah, she's froze again. So I think, this kind of is a good spot to kind of wrap up with what we've covered, but check out the Exopedia for more information. And let's look at what's going on next week. We are going to cover liminal space. So be sure to come and check that out, because that's something that everybody deals with all the time, and to know more about what it is going to help you. Yeah. So
liminal space is very powerful stuff if you know what it is.
Yes.
If you know what it is, you can do amazing medicine, magic, and transformation in liminal space. Join us next week.
Yes, and be sure, go to my website, iriscarter.com, and check out the Healer Summit. Register now. We want to know if you're coming or not, and get in while the getting's good. Prices will go up next month, so we want to
hang out in person with Margot and Iris and hear what we say off camera.
Yeah.
You do want to hear that.
Yeah.
What we say off the air is even next level.
Yeah,
we have
Dale's
so much
going to
fun.
be there, and Katie Costa's going to be there, and she'll be on our show next month. So lots of good stuff coming. So we'll see y'all next week. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining the Eyes of Indigo with Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this podcast. Music is Arcadia by Kevin MacLeod. Find us at facebook.com/Eyes of Indigo, on YouTube under @Iris Carter Enterprises, and on various podcast aggregators. Copyright 2023 by Iris Carter,